Coming up on the Otago Opportunity, we're talking to Dan Leamy, President of the Otago University Student Association.
This is the Otago Opportunity, a limited series look at the future of our province. I'm your host, Pauline Moore, and in this series, we're taking the policies of the Opportunity Party and moving them out of the Wellington think tank and into our own backyard here in Dunedin. Each week, we'll hear from local business owners, students, and families about how a tax reset or a citizens' assembly would actually impact their daily lives. It's not about the politics, it's about the future of the place we call home. Welcome to the Otago Opportunity.
Kia ora, and welcome to the Otago Opportunity. Joining me today is Dave Bainbridge-Zafar, the Opportunity candidate for Dunedin, and our guest, Dan Leamy, the President of the Otago University Student Association, or OUSA. Welcome to you both.
Kia
ora. Dan, what led you to taking up the position of President of the OUSA this year? Was it something you sought out? Did someone nudge you forward? Or are you just someone that likes the extra challenge?
That's an interesting question. I've been asked this by all sorts of different types of people going, people have asked me in the way of why, almost like a why you, as in like you're almost like an outsider, which is funny. That's because when I originally joined the OUSA executive, which was mid 2024 now, so it's been coming up 2 years. I ran very naive. I ran for finance and strategy officer. Hugely naive to even what the executive even did, to be honest with you. I had a very, very brief thought or brief idea of what it was, and then I came and I went, oh, okay, this is quite a busy thing. So then I sat in that role for a year and a half and learnt a heck of a lot about student advocacy, of course, which is literally what it is all about. And then from there I sort of went, well, why not, I guess. So
that was a good thing. Do you think maybe not knowing too much before you went into it, or maybe you wouldn't have?
To be honest, if I knew what it was, I probably, knowing my second year partying self, I probably couldn't have run, to be completely honest with you. So absolutely. No, the naivety definitely helped me, and it's been a great learning opportunity. I have learned an awesome amount. You'd learn a huge amount, met some incredible people. You meet a lot of incredible people, both, in the university particularly, and then also outside as well. And, the Dunedin City Council, you meet all sorts of politicians, you meet great people. So, I guess. So long-winded story. I ran for the exec naively and then ran for president going, oh, it can't be that hard.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying, I do a BCom, so Bachelor of Commerce. I got two majors, so accounting and finance. So really, everyone says that's a boring combo. That's pretty fair. I enjoy it, but it's a bit niche to actually enjoy it, people say. So, but no, it's quite cool. Hopefully, I'll use my degree one day.
Absolutely. And where are you from, Dan?
I'm from rural Manawatu, so a little place called Pohonga. So it's about 30 minutes out of Palmerston North. So my parents are raised in a farming family. So my parents and grandparents are rural farmers, and So I got a long way from home actually. They say that I came to Otago to get as far away as possible.
Was that a first choice?
Yes, it was. It was. I came down here because my older siblings went to Massey in Palmy, but they did it by distance. So the student experience was, nil really, because it's not Massey's quite everything's by distance. You don't see as many people. So then I went, well, I'll do the opposite and come to Otago, where it's known for the student experience, and that's how I ended up here. Follow one of my best mates, and now I still flat with him. So.
So Dan, we first met in your first year, right? When I was coaching rugby and you came along to play rugby at varsity.
Yeah.
When did you get involved with OUSA? Was that in your second year? Because you're in your final year now, right?
Yeah, so that was midway through second year I got and started getting involved. I think it was like August 2024. So I was middle of second year. And now because I'm the president of OUSA, I essentially work full time and study part time. But study part time is a bit of a cop out, because I think I learned everything for my paper in about a week and a half before the exam, and I only have one paper per semester. So, yeah.
Is it a paid role? Do you get paid by OUSA?
Yeah. So you get paid. You get paid to be on all the roles in OUSA. So, the motivation is there to be like, well, the problem these days with the cost of living crisis, and we'll mention it, is as students struggle to go give up their time to do something, probably like they used to in the past. That goes for the executive OUSA. That also goes for like the likes of critic writers at OUSA. Most of them are paid nowadays because, it's almost a trade-off of, we'll either do that or you go work part-time to, be able to pay your rent. So, it's a bit of a change, really.
And for our non-student listeners, do you want to talk a little bit about the purpose of OUSA, like what it is, what it's for, and then what the executive team does? Because there's 10, 12 roles on the executive?
Yep. 12 roles total. So, so OUSA, I mean, it's been around for 136 years. So it's a very, very long history, OUSA. And essentially what they do is advocate for students. And the clearest explanation is they advocate for students. So, whether that be the university mainly, but also plenty of other political issues, fees free, cost of living, or, the value of tertiary education is a question at the moment. And then what you'll see later on this year, we've done it a little bit already, is enrolling students to vote and go and, make their voices heard and do your civic duty. So there's a lot in that. Most of that's in the university, and universities should representation on committees and things like that, but it's quite wide ranging. And then obviously OUSA also has a whole bunch of services. So we have Critic, which is our student magazine, which has been around for just 100 years last year. We've got a radio station, Radio 1. We've got events. So we do O Week, we do the High Street Party sorts of things. And then we have Student Support Centre, we have clubs and societies. So I think it's over 150 clubs. So, it's quite big. It's quite large.
And then how many members of OUSA? Is every student automatically a member?
Yeah. So unless you opt out, which is rare because it's free to be a member, because your services everything's paid for through a student services fee, which is compulsory to the university. So we have over 20,000 members. So a substantial number. Substantial.
And what have you been in other leadership roles before?
No, not really. Captain of a rugby team during high school is really the most of it. I was house leader at high school, but that's really it. Not particularly.
Well, they're both leadership roles, but
they are.
Yeah. And so, what have you found it to be like being a leader? What sort of leader are you? What's your style, and what does that mean to you, being a leader?
Yeah. It's a hard question. I guess it's. I mean, part of it's a classic lead from the front, and do what you would expect other people to do, and don't expect others to do more than you would do yourself. But then the other part of it is, don't, how do you say this? I guess, not everything, something isn't the end of the world with it, whether you are in our haka comp in high school, or a rugby game, an important rugby game, or, at OUSA, there's some cause for students. It's not the end of the world, because some people get really, drowned out, and they really just get so consumed by some things. And sometimes a lot of people, and particularly at OUSA, you just have to say, well, it's actually not that deep. You can just take a step back, grab a glass of water and be like, it's okay, like, next job sort of thing. That's sort of my thing. And I'm a pretty chilled out person, I think. as Dave's mentioned from my rugby days, I was always the most chilled out person before it run on the field, and it's. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some, you see in politics. I'm not. Well, I guess OUSA is politics, but you see in politics, there's some hard-handed leadership styles, and I'm quite the opposite of that, I think.
Yeah, you're a very friendly, amiable, chilled out guy, and I don't mean to take this the wrong way, but when I think back to that rugby team that you were in first year, I wouldn't have picked you to be the president of OUSA a couple of years later from that group of guys. So I think it's fantastic that you've stepped up and put your hand up and done this. What do you find are the biggest challenges for students generally, but also for OUSA as an organisation and yourself as the president? What are the big challenges you're seeing?
I mean, cost of living's got to be the number one, really. It's been, it's funny, I've been at university this is my 4th year now, and I feel like we've talked about a cost of living crisis for those whole, the entire 4 years. So it's kind of like, well, at that point, is it a cost of living crisis still, or is it just a cost of living just horrendous? And are we just going to accept that because, it's not getting easier? And it's certainly not just students that see that. It is all of New Zealand and overseas too. But I mean, I guess students are as a group who aren't particularly well off. They are one of the groups that feel it the most acutely. So that's obviously the biggest one. And then fees freeze added extra financial pressure of. I mean, most students put their student fees on the student loan, which is interest free. But I guess what that does is kicks the barrel down the road a little bit, and you have to do it. I mean, everything I've got is on a student loan, but people rack up tens of thousands of dollars student loans very, very quickly. You'd hate to be doing medicine or something like that, or postgrad where you've got 5 years plus at university, because that would be a scary bill to rack up, and then at the end of it you go, okay, now I've got to get to work to pay it off. So it's interesting times to be a student, I'll say that.
And the quality of housing down here in Dunedin for students is kind of legendary. What's been your experience of student flats in Dunedin?
Yeah, mine's personally, I've been quite lucky, to be fair. I think I've dealt with private landlords, which helps, but it's student housing in Dunedin, and there's also a few other places that have it pretty horrendous. Wellington's not too flash either. Other places too, but it's just something that everyone seems to say, something will change one day, but nothing really does. And and then others go, oh, well, it's a rite of passage for students to live in a crap quality flat. And that's interesting because some people go, oh, it is a rite of passage. You're as a young person, and if you choose to go to Otago, you choose to live in a crap flat, sort of thing. But sure, at some point, society's just got to go, you know what? I don't know why we put young people through this. This is just a bit absurd. Like, if you live in a crap quality flat, what you get is crap health from it. So it might not be in the short term, but in the long term, you're going to feel the effects of living in a cold, moldy, unsafe flat. So. I mean, think about the pressure on the health system that wouldn't be there if you had good quality housing in New Zealand, and that's a countrywide problem, but it's particularly strong in North Dunedin, particularly in the student area. So
completely agree. I know when I worked at Dunedin City Council, we owned a couple of student flats, and certainly went to look at a few since I've lived here. The standard is shocking, and like you say, it's not so much a building design construction issue, it's a health issue. And certainly Opportunity will be looking to do something about that with our housing policy. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we hope we can do to improve the things for students. I note that one of your predecessors, Dan, and it's not uncommon for presidents of students' associations to go into politics. Francisco Hernandez, the Green MP for Dunedin, was a former president of OUSA. Do you have plans for future political career?
Personally, absolutely not. I say it because I do get asked that constantly, actually. And I sort of go, as much as I would love to go into that and make a difference, I feel like, and this is where it's actually interesting, and what the Opportunity Party is saying is that I just feel like the political system is too hard to do anything, and it's it feels like it's a waste of time. And I say that really, that's quite blankly from me, but I've always been like, well, politics is just, politics is hard, it's politics, right? But on top of that, it's kind of like, well, it's hard to see the point and the purpose sometimes. And I'm sort of like, well, I just can't do it. So no, my answer is no. And even if we get some better politics happening nationwide, I still don't see myself in it. It's just, I love people, but the people side is so hard,
Oh, I completely agree. And if anyone had asked me that question 12 months ago, I'd have had the exact same answer. Absolutely no way. Yeah, and I completely agree with you as well. And having worked in councils, I always felt that I could do more good as a council employee than I would as an elected member, as a councillor. I think that equation is maybe slightly different as an MP rather than, working for central government, having also worked for central government. But yeah, completely agree with you that it feels like, almost a lost cause. Can they actually make things better? I don't know. Yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah, hitting your head against the wall sort of thing.
But we need good people to step up. That's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And people have asked you that, Dan, then that's flattering.
Or maybe they just see a strong correlation from the OUSA presidency to politics, because there is a very strong, very well trodden path there.
There is all over the world. Students' Association president to MP is pretty standard. Your plans for next year, though, Dan? You're planning on heading overseas, right?
Yes. So other people have asked me if I'm doing a second term, and I said absolutely not. I don't have the energy for it, to be honest with you. I'm going on exchange next year, so that would be pretty wicked. Yeah, I'm one of the ones that's leaving the country, well, sort of. So yeah, that was just that only came up because I saw how easy these days university exchanges are so easy and so accessible. It costs you virtually nothing, and you get scholarships to go. You can get scholarships to go overseas. At Otago, I think you get about $1,000 automatically to go on exchange. So it's the financial incentive is there. You get a whole new experience heading to Europe. So going to Prague in the Czech Republic. So yeah. But yeah, I am one of the ones that's leaving the country at the moment. I'm part of that flight.
It sounds like an amazing opportunity by the sounds of it. Have you got anything particularly that you're hoping to achieve as president for yourself or for the students?
Yeah, I guess plans change, I suppose. I came in going, I can do all these cool things, and then you sort of realize that in a year, you can only really move the dial slightly on a lot of things. So I'm at the point in the year it's a halfway mark now. We acknowledge that only so much can be done in so many areas. The thing that's come up now that all the energy is going into really is fees free. Obviously, the government announced that they were cancelling the fees free scheme. So that's when I say it's a focus. We're organising a big campaign around it, and we're essentially centering our campaign of enrolling to vote and going to vote to students. We're centering it around that fees free thing of this is what your vote does and means. You can this is how you have your say. Like if you don't like the decision on fees free, you don't like the decision on anything else on that matter. This is how you have your say in democratic elections. So
how does fees free is an obvious one, but how does the OUSA decide when they're going to take up an issue? Because you guys have led some protests to the Octagon. You've worn a beautiful monster costume in leading some of these protests.
The monster costume.
Yeah, fees free, like I say, it's an obvious one for OUSA to take up, but I feel like this government have done a number of other bad things. How does OUSA decide we're going to advocate for this issue, we're going to organise a protest? What's the bar for you?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question, because we've had some good debate in the executive about this. Of like you said, there's so many issues, so many political issues right now. It's how do you choose what you do want to do? And I think, my answer to that is, well, for me personally, it's sort of how does this affect students? And if we're not doing it, who would? So fees free is an obvious one where, well, that is clearly the place of a students association, and students associations around the country are all buying into it and getting involved with it too. So it isn't just us, but there's other things like the like the gender bill at the moment, conservation stuff going on. There's anti-environment stuff. There's so much going on that we're sort of going, it's hard to go, well, you can't run a protest for everything, otherwise people will just get sick of you. So,
yeah, it's crazy that this government seemed to have created a term. Rage fatigue is the term I've heard.
Yeah, rage fatigue.
Because there's so many things to be angry about.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we put out statements on, against all of these things, but as much apart from putting out a statement and you can do a short submission, there's only so much you can do. So we try and focus our efforts onto what really makes a difference, I guess.
And do you have much links with those other student associations? And is there a president of presidents? Is there a president of the respective student associations?
So there's a group that used to be called the New Zealand Union of Students Associations, so NZUSA. That also has a very, very long history, and it's sort of died of a recently very long, painstaking death of. You'd have to ask someone else the history of it, but apparently it was accusations of bullying and all sorts of going ons and financial, misdealings and things. So that died a slow death. And we have revived our what started as just a messenger group chat of all the presidents into, we have fairly formal meetings now every about 6 weeks, just on Zoom. And we just discussed, what's going on. We put out an agenda and say what's happening here. That group is sort of formalizing again. So because there's an obvious thing of a collective voice is stronger than one individual association, and also, don't want to duplicate work across different places in the country if you can. So that group is starting up again. It's actually looking quite good. So yeah, it's been complex, but gathering everyone around big issues is a great way. It's been working. As hey, we've got fees free to deal with here. Students, this is a really important student issue that everyone get around, and it's been working quite well. So, but there's no student president of New Zealand.
There's no president of presidents.
There used to be until probably, I want to say 5-10 years ago. But you never know, maybe one day.
And do you have much to do with OUSA? Because obviously we have another tertiary institute. We have Otago Polytech here in Dunedin. Do you have much to do with their student association?
I have a little bit. Diaz is the president down there. Most of the meetings that I go to with him are more actually involved with the DCC, and we meet with the mayor quarterly in Dunedin. So it's sort of, when we say these student issues, we say, well, it's not just university, it's Polytech students as well. There's a lot of crossover there of the issues. So we have a little bit to do with each other, not as much as I'd like, to be honest.
And how much time, Dan, do you spend on your job as president?
Depends. During semester time, it's quite frantic. It's probably, I had to guess, 45, 50 hours a week during semester time. It's quite a lot. It's a hell of a lot. People, when I say it's a full-time job, people go, oh, okay. And I say, yeah, I sit on the university council, the governing board of the university. I sit on, the executive, chair the exec, and then we have, I don't know how many committees I'm on, but it's a serious amount of university committees in particular that I sit on. So I spend a lot of time in meetings and preparing for meetings and following up on meetings. And then there's all of the other stuff that happens outside of meetings as well. So,
and what do you think the most useful skill that you've learned, or something that stands out in your time so far as president that you've learned?
apart from setting an agenda and following things up to the result.
Well, that is useful. That is useful information.
Hugely useful. Probably communication skills, to be honest with you. As a younger person, from a large family. It's always one of the quiet ones anyway in a large family. So I didn't need to do too much talking. But now you know, the value of communication is huge. If you can't communicate something you want to get across, whether that be to, you know, the vice chancellor or the mayor or, you know, just some student, just a student, you know, you can't too much. You've really got to, anything you do, the communication is absolutely key. And that's what I've learned is, very valuable skill as well, just for life. So
absolutely. Oh, thanks, Dan. We appreciate the time you spent with us, and we wish you lots of luck with all your endeavours this year and for going overseas as well. Great opportunity. Thanks, Dave. That's all from the Otago Opportunity. Thanks for listening, and please join us next time.
By H.Cargo, Secretary at opportunity.org.nz.